Hello dear students. Let's see another closure property of context-free language. Now, the first property in the previous video we saw was CFL are closed under union. Now the second closure property is context-free languages definitely are closed under concatenation. That means if we are given two languages L1 and L2 and both are context-free languages, that means both are defined by context-free grammar and both have push down automata to implement these languages. Then if you concatenate L1 and L2, just check this is a concatenation operation, then the resultant language L that we will get, which is result of L1 concatenate L2, is surely a context-free language. The point is, whenever you find concatenation of two context-free languages, then the resultant language that you get is always a context-free language. It's very easy to prove it actually, that as an example, suppose we take some CFG, context-free grammar, and let's say call it as G1, and this is G1. Just observe, the start symbol S derives small a followed by capital A, but capital A derives small b followed by capital A, and finally capital A can end up with small b. So it's visible that this particular CFG will generate all strings which begin with single A, only one A will be there in the beginning, followed by one or more B. That's what I have described here. And the second grammar, you can imagine CFG, G2, is S derives BB, capital B, but capital B derives small a followed by capital B, and finally capital B can end up with small a. Now it is visible from here that start symbol will always give one B in the beginning. That too only a single B will be there in the beginning of the string, and then this capital B can derive one or more A's. That's what I have described here. Correct? Now what if this is language 1 and this CFG generates language 1 and this CFG generates language 2, then what will be language 1 concatenated with language 2? It's very easy actually. This is a CFG where we can introduce start symbol such that we can call start symbols of both the grammar as S1 and S2, and we can say S is S1 dot S2 or S1 S2 simply. And you know S1 produces small a capital A, then capital A produces small b capital A, and capital A produces small b. What I did is actually, I have written all the productions of grammar G1, but these productions may be concatenated. Just check this with the productions of the second grammar. So S2 produces small b followed by capital B, but capital B produces small a followed by capital B, and capital B produces A. You will fully accept this new grammar that we have written is indeed a context-free grammar. And then this will generate a language which will be definitely a context-free language, because context-free grammars generate context-free languages, and definitely we can construct a PDA for this. Correct? What will be the language generated by this grammar, by the way? It will be all such strings which are of the form. Let's see. First of all, let's write a few strings of language 1. Remember, language 1 has first letter as A, followed by one or more B. So the smallest string will be AB, next will be ABB, next will be ABBB, and so on. And language 2 has all strings which begin with B, followed by one or more A. So we will have B, BAA, BAAA, and so on. But then what will be L1.L2? L1.L2 will contain all the strings of the form that these strings are concatenated with each other. So you will get ABBA. This will be one of the strings which is result of this. Now AB will be generated by S1. If you start from the start symbol over here, S1, you will be able to generate AB because S1 produces AA and A produces B. So this string, this portion of the string AB can be generated by S1 and BA can be generated by S2. That is what we have written is the new grammar has S1 dot S2. So it will give all the strings produced by S1 but concatenated with the strings produced by S2. So more strings over here, ABBA, then this AB concatenated with this. So AB BAA. Again observe, AB can be generated from S1 starting with start symbol of the first grammar and BAA can be generated from the second grammar. Anyway, you can have such a string also. This string A triple B concatenated with this BA. You can see that the A triple B will be generated by S1 but BA will be generated by S2. So everywhere you can see that if you use the start symbols of the two grammars and then just simply produce the productions of G1 followed by productions of G2, you will get a new grammar and it will generate surely a context free language. I hope you have understood that when you actually find concatenation of two context free languages, you will surely get a context free language. Now in the same video, we will see the third closure property. Now the most important thing here to understand is that context free languages are not closed under intersection operation. That means if we have two languages L1 and L2, suppose let L1 and L2 be context free languages. That means for each of them there is a context free grammar and for each of them there is a PDA, push down automata, which will actually implement the context free grammars or the actual automata which will implement the context free grammars. Then L1 intersection L2 is not necessarily CFL. Necessarily, please excuse me for spelling here, but intersection of two context free languages may not be context free language. See, it can be context free language, but sometimes you may get a language which is not context free. When do you say that some language is closed, always closed under some operation? When you will surely get the same type of language. But here I am saying sometimes you may not get a CFL. Very simple example I will use for proving this. Let L1 be, let's say, A raised to N, B raised to M, C raised to M, such that N comma M is greater than or equal to 1. So what you know is in this language, there are all strings where number of B is equal to number of C. A can be any arbitrary, but you see B raised to M, C raised to N. So number of B should be equal to number of C. So in this, we will get ABC. There is a string like this. You can see B is matching C. A can be any arbitrary. We can get A double B double C. Again, B is matching C. We can get any number of A's and then one B and one C. Again, B is matching C. Or we can have any number of A's. Then if we have 3B, we should have 3C. Number of B's are matching number of C's. All such strings will be there. And imagine there is another language L2 where we have A raised to N, B raised to N, C raised to M, such that N comma M is greater than or equal to 1. What it means is this language will have all strings where A and B are matching. Note here B and C were matching in L1. Here A and B are matching. So in this L2 language, we will have something like ABC, A and B are matching. You can have any number of C's because we have C raised to M. We don't have to match this with anything. Or we can have AA, BB, single C, number of A are matching number of B. Or we can have something like let's say triple A, triple B and C 5 times. Again, number of A's are matching number of B's, and so on. Now the question is, if this is a CFL and if this is a CFL, of course, we can develop a push down automata for this and we can develop a push down automata for this. Both are context free languages. Then is L1 intersection L2 also a CFL? The answer is no. Why? What will be intersection of L1 and L2? Just check. L1 says that B and C must match. L2 says A and B must match. Then their intersection will be A and B and C. All of them should match. Just check. I'll prove this. But if L is L1 intersection L2, then L will be A raised to N, B raised to N, C raised to N, such that N is greater than or equal to 1. All three must match. Check, it's very easy actually. We are taking intersection of L1 and L2, correct? That means we should take common strings. What is intersection? We take common strings. So one of the strings will be ABC. I hope you agree. Correct? Now surely this L1 will contain this string also. You watch. Double A, double B, double C. I hope you are not surprised. B and C should match here, isn't it? And B and C are matching. We can have any number of A's here. Correct? And this L2 will also contain such a string. Note, number of C can be anything, but A and B must match here. And when we find intersection, this is a common string. You will see that in the resultant language, all the strings that we will get after intersection will be the one which has ABC equal, and there does not exist any PDA for this language. Of course, we'll prove it by using pumping lemma in the coming videos. We will prove this, that this is not a CFL. But in this video, I will prove this is not a CFL by intuition. Just see, the PDA that we have learned contains a stack initially containing Z0. Correct? PDA contains a stack initially containing Z0. And our plan is, if we want to design a PDA for such strings, let's take a string double A, double B, double C. We know that A must match B and both of them must match C. Our plan is, for every A we will push X. For this A also we will push X. Now the point is that number of B's have to be matched with number of A's. So for every B we will pop X. Now the question remains is, what do we do for C? How do you know whether number of C's are equal to number of A's and B's? Because the stack has become empty. You have not left any traces of how many A's and B's were there. No, it seems you're not understood. Then in that case, just check. Let's take AA, BB, CC, same string. And I'm saying there does not exist a PDA which will tell number of A's are equal to number of B are equal to number of C. We can have a PDA for this, A raised to N, B raised to N. Just check. Because for every A we will push X and for every B we will pop X. And finally the stack becomes empty. Then we'll say this string double A double B is in the language A raised to N, B raised to N. But if you have A raised to N, B raised to N, C raised to N, we can't develop a PDA for this. Well, PDA will be possible if we use two stacks. But problem is, PDA has only one stack. Hello. You can't say that now I will use PDA with two stacks. But if you have two stacks, then for every A we will push X on this stack. For this A also we will push X. Now for the next B we will push Y on the second stack. For the second B we will push Y on the second stack. And now for every C we will pop X and pop Y from both stacks. So as there are two number of C's, correct, we will pop two times. and both stacks will be having Z0. I forgot to draw Z0. Z0 is the initial stack symbol. Then we can say number of A's, B's and C's are matching. But then the point is, do you have two stacks in the PDA? No, we don't have. Somebody will still argue, what if we have two stacks? What if? Say. Then my question is, can you design a PDA for A raised to n, B raised to n, C raised to n, D raised to n? How will you design a PDA for this? Now we will need three stacks such that if you have AA, BB, CC and DD, then for every A we will push X here on the first stack. For every B we will pop Y on the second stack. For every C we will pop Z, we will push Z on the third stack, and for every D we will keep popping 1A, 1B, 1C, that is X, Y, Z. And for the second D also we'll pop X, Y, Z, and finally we will be left out with Z0. I again forgot to draw that initial stack symbol. So whatever we have pushed has been popped, then all these symbols are matching. But do you have three stacks? So the point is that this A raised to n, B raised to n, C raised to n is not CFL. But this I have proved by using intuition, by explaining this, or A raised to n, B raised to n, C raised to n, D raised to n is not a context-free language. So coming back to our earlier slide, if you find L1 intersection L2, where L1 and L2, make a note of this again, L1 and L2 are given as written, then their intersection will contain A raised to n, B raised to n, C raised to n, which is not a CFL. Hence we said that intersection of two CFLs is not necessarily a CFL, so it is not closed under intersection operation. That's it. We will come back with some more closure properties of context-free languages in the next video. Thank you very much.